Hey everyone, it's Kai from Cool Collectibles, back again for another review. If you follow the channel in the past, you'll know that I do love the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan from the 90s, as I grew up watching them through the 90s period. But in the display, as you can see here, I do have some spare room in that particular acrylic case. At the end of last year and early January, I was looking at filling that space. And I was actually thinking of getting the Enterbay 2-pack for Shaquille O'Neal, and that was available at Big Bad Toy Store. And then I was actually going to get the Michael Jordan final edition, or whatever they've called it, with the home white uniform. But just as I was about to order it, it sold out at Big Bad Toy Store. So in the end, I ended up going directly to the Enterbay website and noticed that I think earlier in the new year, they had a sale, which was about a 5% or 10% off sale for some of their figures in stock, and also on pre-order. And at the time, there was this 2-figure set for Kobe Bryant, which I thought released years ago, which in fact it did release about 4 years ago in 2016. But they were reissuing it, and they called it the re-edition or something like that. And it was going for $390 US, including shipping, directly from Enterbay. So at that price, I think it was, I can't remember if, I'll have to go back into my records if it was the end of December or early January when they had the sale. I think it might have been early January, where they had the New Year sale. So I pre-ordered then, and I guess out of pure coincidence, and sadly, he had the accident, I think, later in January. I think it might have been Australia Day, or the day after that, here in Australia, where he had the accident and obviously passed away. So I think after that incident, the Enterbay website pretty much upped their price back to their original price. I think it was about 440 US. So at least I was able to get a discount. And I wasn't sure how long it was going to take for them to release the set. I think they originally had an estimate for Q3 in 2020, so they've actually released it a couple of months early, I think, which is pretty good. I was actually worried that it was just going to be leftover stock from 4 years ago, but from what I can see, and I guess the quality of what's left, it doesn't look like it's just a straight reuse of any spare parts. It's a new, I guess, a new second production run of this particular figure set, and overall it does look pretty good. But I'll quickly go through the accessories and the packaging here. I'll just get the whole uniform thing out of the way. As you can see there, I haven't even removed it out of the packaging yet. The box art here, I actually was really impressed with how they've done the box art here. It's got the really nice sort of reflective surface there, the logo on the front and his signature, some info on the back. I don't think the info has changed. The date still says 2015, but I guess the overall packaging and the foam layers and so on that they've got in there was actually pretty nice. And I think it's just as good, if not better, than the Chicago Bulls versions. For the figures, it is a 2-figure set with the younger version of Kobe, and also I guess the older version probably from about 2003 or onwards. So the younger version obviously wears number 8, and the older version wore number 24. So this younger version, no tats or anything like that. The bodies are pretty much identical, apart from the right arm there, which does have the tattoos. I haven't really compared exactly the real life tattoos to what's on the figure, but if you can sort of see some of the detailing there, you can see Maria. I have no idea who that is. But you can see some sort of writing there, and some sort of patterning on his shoulder and so on. So I guess if you know how accurate that is, you can leave some comments in the description. But for me, I'm not into tattoos at all, and I much prefer the, I guess, the players from the 90s and so on that didn't really have so many tattoos all over them. With the Enterbay bodies, you can sort of see all the points of articulation. The biggest issue for me was how tight these damn shoulders were. I can't remember which one exactly, but I managed to get all of them moving. They are on some weird ratchet mechanism, so you can sort of hear that big click there. And then you sort of you need to really hold right at the junction here, otherwise there is a big risk of snapping that whole thing right off. So I try to hold it as close as possible and just oh, Jesus Christ, so you can feel that there. So I'm not even going to try and do that again on camera for any of them, because I really might break something. But you see that articulation there. You get the rotation in the elbow. It's only a single joint, so there's no double joint, so you can only get about 90 degrees, which is a shame. And some of the sort of paint rub or plastic where it sort of shaves off and you can see the white underneath is a bit unsightly. I don't think I had that issue on the Bulls figures that I'm looking at now, so that's a bit of a shame, but I might just get some, I don't know, brown texture or something from my kids and paint that over. You do have the upper torso articulation there, which is pretty good, and then the waist, which is pretty good too. This floating piece, that you see the Enterbay logo there, and then the legs, so you can't get too much articulation back. Front is okay, it bends through that softer rubber there. You have the rotation. At least you get a double jointed knee, so I guess you know, for some of his dunk poses you can get his legs all the way up, and then the ankle joints there that fit the shoes. You might want to put some hot water or something in there. I mean, that hole there looks, Jesus, I don't know how that's meant to fit in that hole. I don't know if you can see the hole there. That looks a lot smaller than, I don't know, I guess it might work. But essentially you put the socks over there, and then put that in there. So from memory I had to heat this up with some hot water with the Bulls figures, and slot the foot in there. So I'll see how I go. I'm not going to do that on camera because I'll probably screw something up, but that's pretty much the bodies that you get. Accessories wise, it comes with the All-Star Game MVP trophy. I don't think the Jordan figures came with any of those, unless it was in another variant that I didn't buy. I think I've got the MVP for the finals trophy, and of course the championship trophies. So this is a pretty nice trophy to have. It comes with the 2 head sculpts, which actually look, I'm actually surprised it looks so much better in hand than it did in the photos. I don't think it's the best likeness, but it's actually quite a lot better in person. So this is the younger version with a bit of his afro, and that sort of athletic dunking or action face there. The texture on the skin is pretty good. The eyes are glossy. So overall they've done a pretty good job there. The scale, I'm not sure of the scale of the head sculpt to the body. I'll have to double check that when I assemble everything. The Jordan figures are pretty good, but I think the Rodman was probably the worst, where the head sculpt was way too small for the height of the body. This older version has a more of a stoic expression. I think I actually prefer the likeness on the younger one, but this one's not too bad. You can sort of see the 5 o'clock shadow on his head there, and that more stern look does reflect, I guess, the way he was in his older years. So it's great that they've got those 2 variants. Comes with the shoes from Adidas. I believe it's Adidas. I'm more of a Nike fan and a Jordan fan if you follow the channel. So I think these were the ones that he wore when he was younger. And then these bluish purpley ones are the ones that are a bit from the older years. Comes with the basketball that has the magnet in it, and as always that sort of just clips in where you find that spot, and it magnetizes like that, which is pretty nice for some action poses and so on. Comes with the range of hand sculpts. I don't think they're a reuse from some of the other figures. So he's got this sort of A-OK sort of pose, pointing pose, and again on the other side. The only hand that I'm not sure about, I'm not sure what this is for. I mean, is that his post shooting hand in the air sort of follow through pose perhaps? Maybe that's what it is, but that's the only thing I can think of. And that also comes with this separate black t-shirt. I've no idea when and where he wore this, but it's got Mamba Day on the back there, so I don't know if it's some sort of charity event or something that he sponsored, but I guess it's a nice addition regardless. I guess apart from the outfits, it also comes with these two stands with the two numbers now. The Enterbay stands always sort of come out of the box fairly okay, but this sort of panel is really only just a sticker, and at least on the Bulls ones that I've got 4 of the Bulls figures. I think at least 2 of them have started peeling away or buckling, which is not a good look. So hopefully these ones are a little bit more hardy and stand the test of time, but I guess we'll have to find out once we put it on display. I actually don't even think I've used the Bulls ones on display. I think they might be back in the box because there's limited space in the display cabinet. But overall the stands aren't too bad, and the posts and so on are the same as what they came with the Bulls figures. But that's pretty much it. I guess from an outfit perspective, I might give a closer look of these outfits once I assemble everything, but the quality of them is pretty good. But on that point of the quality of the outfits, I might just make a point to show. Here's my previous Bulls sort of locker room set. Now you'll see that the Rodman shirt doesn't have any sort of glue or residue or anything like that, and it's actually a lot softer around those edges, and it looks a lot cleaner. But the older Pippin version, you'll see that there's a lot of yellow glue residue pretty much everywhere, particularly on the front here. I don't know if you can see underneath there, like that. That's pretty unsightly if you ask me, and it's starting to show through the front just slightly, and it feels a lot more rigid because it's got this red border around it, as opposed to this that does not have the red border. So I mean, I don't know which one is more accurate, but even if this isn't as accurate with the white border here, I would much prefer this shirt over this one that does have this really ugly yellow staining. And I think this harder material also made it stick up more on the shoulders. The biggest problem with these figures is when you have the figure and the shoulder bit is sticking up, it just doesn't look very realistic. I think with these softer versions, they actually sit a lot lower and more realistically hang on the shoulders. So just a thing to note for people if they're looking at some of these shirts and so on. And this locker room set is something that I'll add to the display along with the other 4 Bulls figures and these 2 Kobe figures, and that should fill out to capacity the acrylic case that I've got up there. So let me assemble everything, and I'll give you guys a closer look at the outfits then. Alright, here are the figures side by side, fully assembled, and I have to say, overall they look pretty damn good. I think the outfits are even probably slightly better than the way they were made for the Bulls figures. The way they sit on the shoulders here is much better than on the Bulls figures. They actually sit right up against the shoulders, so they don't have that sort of puffy look. This one here can probably be pulled down a little bit more. But I also love how the material is slightly different. You can see on the younger version here, the material is similar to the Bulls versions from the 90s, which is accurate, I guess, because this is probably around the 98-99 period, whereas the older version has the more satin, sort of silky material. So the fact that they've gone through that level of detail to differentiate the outfits is really good. I do think the way they make you put the shoes on is an absolute pain in the ass. This one here, you have to angle the ankle joints forward and sort of slip it in and then push it down. And the little hole that I was showing you before on these shoes was quite difficult. So what I had to end up doing was, you put the socks on, and then I poured in some hot water, pretty much some boiling water into each shoe. Let that sit for about 10-20 seconds, and then it made it very easy to slip on onto the joints of the ankles. It does take a bit of getting fiddling around to get it directly in the hole for this one, but once you get in there, you'll hear a click, and it's pretty stable from that point on. So now that they're in there, I'm not planning on moving them pretty much ever again, to be honest, and hopefully I can figure out a pose that doesn't somehow detach the shoes off of the figure. Putting the outfit on was a little bit fiddly. It is a bit like playing dolls, to be honest. The shorts were okay, but then getting the top, the singlets tucked in and looking fairly natural was pretty painful. If you have a tool like this that Hot Toys provided with, I can't remember what figure provided this, and I'm not sure if it was Chewbacca or something, but having a tool like this to help you shove in and position the singlet inside the shorts was very helpful. And in the end, for these longer, this shirt was actually quite a lot longer than this one. I had to end up sticking my fingers underneath the shorts and pulling it down from there, just so that it didn't puff up too much at the top. And then I guess it's just a matter of once you tuck it all in, pulling it out and having it sort of fold over and look natural. This one I probably haven't done as nicely as this one here, but I'll futz around and see what I can do. But overall, the scale of the heads are pretty good. I think I might have pushed this one a little bit further down into the joint than this one, so it does look like it's a little bit taller, but as you can see from the shoulder line, they are pretty much the same height figure wise. So I'll muck around with that once I finish up here on this. Other parts of the outfit, the armband there is pretty nice, and then you've got the knee brace there as well. You can probably pull that up a little bit further up the knee, and then underneath for both figures they've got the little biker shorts. So this one's got the black one similar to Jordan, and that one's got the purple ones underneath there. So just make sure it doesn't fall over there. On the back there, it's got the nice sort of name and number there, similar to this one. I do like that, even with the number and the way the white shadowing works is very accurate to the original outfit. So overall, I think they've done a fantastic job with the accuracy and the way the outfit sort of sits. Definitely an improvement over previous figures. I'm not sure if the original release from 2016 had the figure so nicely sort of sit on the shoulders there for the singlet, but definitely for this reissue they've done a pretty good job. Stand wise, I'll have to figure out how I'm going to pose them up on display with some of the smaller stands and fit it all into the display cabinet. But if you tune into the Facebook page, I'll hopefully have some photos up over the coming weekend as well, so hopefully you can stick around for that. Hopefully you can give this video a like if you like what you saw. Hopefully you like this look at the Enterbay Kobe Bryant 2-figure set, particularly if you're a fan, and now that he's passed away and so on. I think the value of this will probably go up over time, and it is a pretty good tribute to such a legendary player. So hopefully it goes well with my Bulls figures up there, and I'll show you some photos over the coming couple of weeks. But until then, thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.